On today's show, Ben Pfeifer is back for part 2 of an NBA draft discussion, and it's coming up right now.
You are Locked On Hawks, your daily Atlanta Hawks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 2260 of the Locked On Hawks podcast. I am your host, Brad Rowland, coming to you on a Sunday evening into Monday. And today's show is sponsored by folks at Odoo. Great organizations win because operations matter. That's why you should try Odoo right now. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. And I'll be joined momentarily by my good friend Ben Pfeifer for part 2 of a 2-part discussion about the NBA draft. I do have one PSA for you at the top of this. We recorded this over the weekend before one of the more intriguing international prospects, Luigi Swigo, withdrew from the draft. So you'll hear us talk about him. That's before he withdrew. So he's not going to be in the draft anymore. Just a PSA on that. It's later on in the podcast. No worries there. Nothing hugely deep diving about that, but want to give you that heads up that he's no longer in the draft. He's going to Villanova. So PSA there. And also, please start with part 1. If you missed part 1, dive into that first to have the full conversation in order with myself and Ben on the draft. But without any further delay, we'll dive back in now with myself and Ben and part 2. So I have a broad question for you, and that is how many, it might only be one, I don't know. How many non-guards would you consider at 8 if you're the Hawks?
Probably just Mara.
Is it just Mara? I was going to say, I mean, most people that I've asked that to, it's been like just Mara, or maybe it's Mara and Yax, or maybe it's Mara and Ament, or whatever.
I could hear Yaxel. I mean, I get that. I just feel like the Hawks, like, it's like a little redundant, but they could always use like another one of these type of like big transition forwards who can actually shoot the way he does.
Yeah. No, I
would not be anti that at all, to be clear. I mean, and then the other like bigger like non-guards I like in this range, like they shouldn't, like Quain's, I don't think it's going to go this high, even if I like, in my world, I think it's totally fine.
If his medical was clean, I would talk about him all the time. I don't know if I'd take him at 8, but he would be a top 11 or 12 guy.
If he had a full season, I don't know if he'd even be like in the Hawks range, honestly. Like,
he might go 5th. Yeah, it's very possible.
Let's like building on what he did as a freshman. Anyways, but yeah, Mara.
Okay, so I want to leave with that. I know you are at least relatively high on Mara. Mara's really come on a lot for most people. But also I hear we talk about Mara on the podcast. I know people think that I'm like a Mara homer, which I'm really not, because I know there's a Michigan thing.
You are
I'm really
Mara
not, though.
That's true.
I'm not. I'm probably lower on him than you. It's like, I know I like Michigan. I'm a Merez homer. I will grant you that. I'm a Merez Johnson homer. I will raise my hand on that. But no, seriously though, like I get why people, especially Hawks fans, are like almost over-indexing on Mara, because he is the mythical 7-footer that they've all wanted for so long, because they've had a bunch of small centers, including the one they have now, who's good, by the way. But beyond that, what do you like about him? What do you think about drafting this archetype even at 8? Because there is an argument that maybe he's like a 25-minute a game player. Like, I don't know where you fall on that, but like, what do you think about Mara as high as this?
Yeah, I'd be totally fine with Mara this high. I think he's certainly this level of player. He might be a lower minute player. I think part of it, like he had some games, like his first game of the season against Wake Forest, or I think it was the second game of the season, first like real game, was one of the best games any prospect played all year. And that was an overtime game that he played a lot of minutes in.
And by the way, they probably should have lost, which is hilarious considering that they won the championship at the end of the season. They almost lost that game.
Michigan also like boat raced and beat the crap out of everyone. Like he didn't need to play a ton of minutes. Right. But yeah, I mean, he played 30 plus minutes in both of the final 4 games. Like I said, that Wake Forest game, he played 37 minutes in, and his two-way impact is incredible. And he just does things that players that size don't do. His passing is obviously stupendous. Like the way he sees the floor, like can pass the cutters over his head, like around his back. He's a great short roll passer, like amazing passer out of double teams in the post, which I don't know how much he's going to be like commanding doubles, like as a post scorer. I think that's like an interesting swing to me because he is a skilled post scorer. He can he's got a pretty diverse array of moves. He can hit hooks with both hands, but he is pretty weak in his physicality and his explosiveness against contact can be an issue, and I think will be an issue as a post up player in the NBA. But yeah, I think I mean again, he played more minutes than Klingon did his last year at UConn. And I think mobility wise, he's better than a player like that. He improved quite a bit this year compared to the UCLA sample and the pre-UCLA stuff where he was a top prospect before his freshman season. And then, UCLA happened and then he got back to it immediately once he got to a more real program. But yeah, I think Mara, I'm just willing to bet on players with his kind of superpowers and high-end traits, his rim protection. I mean, I didn't even mention it. He is the premier rim deterrer in the class. He's obviously a great shot blocker. He's one of the highest block rate guys in the class, but guys just don't want to shoot around him. He has that effect about him, and I think he can move his feet enough to survive playing a little higher when he needs to, but obviously the best way is going to be to play him how they play, and more how the Spurs try to play Wemby in the finals time, where you just let him roam around the rim and play goalie and have your other guys off ball switch and next and peel off. But I think the Hawks could definitely do that, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, the personnel to me lines up.
And they have a coach. I mean, everyone makes the comparison, but they have the coach who coached Rudy Gobert, and they're not the same prospects, same play. But Rudy's a better mover, I think, than anybody else that can do that.
Yeah, Rudy's a freak. Obviously with hindsight, but going back and watching his prospect tape in last year or two, it's crazy that he went as low as he did.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously in his prime was, I think, one of the underrated things about Rudy is that how fast and how durable and
still is honestly.
Anyway. Yeah, he still is now. I mean, I was gonna say it's Mara's more like what Rudy is now, I would guess. But even then, Rudy still moves really well for his age.
Even I think current Rudy is a way better mover than. But that's
I agree.
Not a slight at
no.
Mara is very But yeah, I was gonna say I think I have some clips somewhere on my Twitter of Gobert moving and was just totally a freak. But yeah,
crazy. I mean, so one of the knocks on Mara, we got to a little bit a second ago, is he didn't play that many minutes. There is a reason for that, as we just laid out. Also, his rebound rate wasn't sky high for what it could have been. I think there's a reason for that too. He's playing next to Merez Johnson and Yoxel Lindeborg in college. They kind of just they all kind of shared rebounds, which was interesting. And also, I feel this is one of my pet theories, Ben. Unless you are a star, and I mean an offensive hub star at center, and there's only a handful of those guys in the league. Unless you have one of those, my theory is that you basically need two starting centers to be a real team. And Okongwu's a starting center. I think he's a really good player. I think Mara is different enough from Okongwu. Also,
they can play together.
I was going to say that's the other thing about 100%. This, which makes it. I think if Okongwu was a more traditional center,
his shooting leap has totally made that.
I totally agree, but I was going to say I think if Okongwu was a more traditional center, I would be more skeptical of investing the 8th pick in the draft on a drop big, just make it playing like that. But because Okongwu isn't, and because of my general theory about centers, and that Okongwu should probably play less than he played last year, even as good as he was, I'm okay with using the 8th pick on a guy who may not play more than 27 minutes a game. That's okay with me. It doesn't really bother me that would be the case.
I mean, to your point, all of the Final Four teams are heavily invested in multiple bigs. And even obviously, Wemby's ridiculous, but they went even with Wemby, they went and paid. They paid Luke Cornett a good amount of money. 8 figures for
Luke Cornett per season. I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns is a star, and they still have Mitchell Robinson, who is a starting caliber center on most teams. He's a good player. It's not out of the ordinary to think about this. I'm just saying, even if you are high on Okongwu, which I am, and you might not think it's a huge positional need at that point in time, the Hawks also, people just forgot this now, went and got Porzingis last year. They want to have that idea of another guy who can be a different pitch than Okongwu. Porzingis is more of a shooter than Mara will ever be, obviously, but They did try the like 7-3
totally
guy.
forgot he was on the Hawks. That's crazy.
I know people just forget about it all the time, and I get why. But it's like, hey, they did this. They did a version of this. They're different players. So anyway, you like Mara. I like Mara. I am at the same time. I said all that. I'm not pounding the table. There are lots of Hawks fans, and you don't see this stuff the way that I would. That are like, it has to be Mara and nobody else. I'm not that way. I'm not.
This draft's just like too good to be thinking like that. Honestly,
yeah, I agree.
To me,
I totally
I'm just
agree.
like, come on, I mean, like, if it is Mara, I would be very happy about it. Like, no doubt.
I would feel good about it. I mean, and there is a way. As much as
the passing of a Jalen Johnson at a Mara front court would be beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. And he gives them the rim protection that they haven't had, and they can kind of play differently defensively in the way they've been getting by without it. Because as good as Akon Wiz, it's not a rim protector.
I mean, I think Quinn Snyder would love to have his beautiful giant drop big back.
I'm confident he would. Yes, I'm pretty. He has not said that to me out loud, but I'm pretty sure he would like to have that. But no, there is a world in which he's best player available. I mean, he both fits an archetypal need, but also he just might be the best guy. Depends on how the board goes for most people, but like very reasonably could be the best guy available at number 8 overall. Running a business should actually feel like you're trying to connect with a bunch of different systems. They actually were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales. Somehow none of them actually talk to each other at all. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, help your team to move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success is not just about talent. It's actually about having everybody work toward the same goal. That's true in sports as well, just in the way that it is for business. One thing that stands out to me always is that the best organizations get everyone pulling in the same direction, not just one player or coach or executive. That's great. It's a coordinated effort instead across all the entire organizations to actually make things successful. Great organizations win because operations matter. That's why you should try Odoo right now. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's ODOO for Odoo, odoo.com/lockedon. There are more live events worth seeing right now than there ever have been. Games, concerts, comedy shows, festivals, etc. The hard part actually isn't deciding what you want to attend. It's actually getting the tickets instead. Between long wait times, checkout processes are actually confusing, and surprise fees, buy tickets actually sometimes feel harder than it actually should. That's why so many fans have been joining and turning to the folks at the Gametime app. The app is built to make buy tickets actually simple for you. Upfront pricing, CVs actually before you buy the tickets, it's exclusive savings opportunities that actually help you get the events that you want without any of the usual hassle. My biggest pet peeve, arguably, is that you find a great deal on a ticket site, get all the way to the end of the checkout process, and then suddenly the final price looks completely different than what you thought you were going to pay. At Gametime, they get all the uncertainty out of buying the process, and I love that. Honestly, that certainty is fantastic. What you see is what you will pay with the folks at the Gametime app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to every single type of event with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account with Gametime and use that code. It's LOCKEDON, locked on for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Gametime app today. After Mara, anybody else that you want to talk about at 8? Because we'll go down the board a little bit after this because the Hawks have this other first round pick. But is there anybody that you want to at least throw out there as a potential guy? I mean, Braden, I know you're a little bit lower on Braden Burries than some. I get asked about him sometimes. I think he might be more of a trade down option than an actual guy at 8.
He's getting smoked that high. I mean, I wouldn't personally be shocked if that happened. I mean, I wouldn't love it. He's not my favorite player, like you kind of alluded to. I understand why people like him. Like he definitely has he's just like a good, like well-rounded player. Like he's like Gary Harris to me. Or like a different flavor of like Josh Hart. Just like
guard Josh Hart would be interesting.
I mean, he shoots he's not the same level of like playmaker or athlete, but he's a crazy transition player. He is so good in transition. He's an excellent rebounding guard. He got a lot better defensively. He has a bit of an older freshman. Like you'd expect him to be as impactful as he was. And it was a rough start to the year. He definitely grew on me, even if I'm not like crazy high on him. But I don't know, these like jack of all trade, master of none prospects do spook me a little bit. And I think that's kind of what Burries fits into me. Like, Draft Baller has like an up, but like a better version of like the Tankathon, like strengths and weaknesses, like the green check, red X kind of vibe. Burry's outside of the impact metrics, which are all phenomenal, but it's just not something I weight so highly beyond like a box being checked. His like best stat relative to position is like 86th percentile, which was his mid-range shooting this year, which was his mid-range efficiency, which he wasn't efficient, but he just, even statistically, I mean, and you don't have to rely on that. Like, you can just watch him play. Like he's pretty effective as like a second side driver with his strength. He can make some basic pick and roll passes. There just isn't like a ton spectacular about him to me. And I think these players often have like a little bit lower floors than they get credit for, but I do think Burry's has a good chance to be a very good player. But yeah, he's just like not someone I am crazy high on as like a top 10 pick in this draft. I mean, I still have him as like a late lottery, mid first type player where if he does end up, if a team as is projected takes him 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I get it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not my like favorite preferred thing. And like, again, I think he fits the Hawks, but like, I just much rather them get someone more dynamic with the ball personally.
I totally get that. So not to ignore, there's this like, it's funny. There's this like middle, at least on the consensus mainstreamy big boards I see, there's like this middle range of guys who like, I'm not talking about a lot because they're just probably not going to be available to the Hawks. And I mean that, like, just to name some names, like I think Steinbach is one that's like right in the middle of the two Hawks picks where like he won't be there at 23, but he won't go 8th. Like that's a good example. I think Merez is part of this. Cameron Carr, after his post combine seeming leap in the consciousness, probably going to be gone by the time they get to 23. Nate Ament, even honestly, I mean, we can talk about Ament if you want to, but I think you and I are both, we would not take him at 8.
I don't need to if you don't need to.
We won't. Let's just not. But like, you know what I mean? Does that sound reasonable? Like there's like a group of like 5 or 6 guys that I'm like not 100% confident, but like pretty confident they just won't be there at 23. So I'm like, I'm not ignoring them, but like it would stun me if Steinbach was at 23. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like if he is, that would be cool. I mean,
yeah.
it wouldn't be like so. It's not so impossible to me. That's about what's happening, but
crazy stuff happens in the draft. I mean, I'm not. That's why I'm saying it's not
generally agree.
Yeah. And even, I think Quaintance might, just because of the medical. I could see him being like a crossover of nut teams, or maybe he just kind of plummets. But then there's this range of like we talked about a lot of guards already, but none of these guards. Like, I don't know how you feel about the Bennett Sturts, Christian Anderson. I know you're higher on a Corey than those guys. At least I believe you are. Malik Thomas, not really the same league guard, but like he gets talked about. This kind of 23 could go anywhere. So it's hard to talk about, like to just pin down, but let's just say the Hawks drafted Diamara at 8. Very, very possible. They don't have to draft a guard, but they might take one. Anybody you like more than the rest? I know about Corey is higher on the board for you. But like beyond a Corey, like, do you like Sturts? Do you like Anderson? Do you like Malik Thomas? Like any of those guys interest you?
Yeah. I mean, I think like one of the cases for drafting Mara at 8 is that like the center options are so much worse at 22 than like the potential, or 23, whatever, than the potential guard options, which are almost certainly going to be great. And like you said, a Corey, I mean, if again, he's like Max, it's gonna look Maxi to me with a Corey.
Well, it's so funny too. It's the same exact splits happening. People on the internet that I trust, and I think are smart, all have a Corey like in the top 15 somewhere. And
yeah, and if it was an average strength draft like 2020, he'd be top 5.
Well, I'm saying, but that happened with Maxi, where like a lot of us, and I'm including myself too, were like, hey, this guy's
you were a Maxi guy. Yeah.
This is a top 10 guy in the draft, and he fell all the way to where he fell to. And maybe a Corey won't fall that far, but like in the intel spaces, he seems like he's still going in the 20s. And
it's so funny also because a Corey is like just in terms of like statistical production, like so much better than Maxey. I don't think like I think Maxey was like his stats way undersold him as a prospect.
Well, it was Kentucky, it was Cal, the whole
but
Cal thing.
Corey's like numbers are ridiculous. Like his
No.
like scoring efficiency and volume is like only matched by the top three. Like he is crazy. Anyways, I mean he'd be the best one, but I think
agreed.
Anderson and Sturts would also be one. I think of them both as like potential late lottery mid first guys. So getting them at 23 is awesome. Malik, I probably have him at like the bottom of this group, but
agreed.
I do think he's still in this general tier of players to me.
And he's obviously a little bit different role too. Like he's less of a lead guard.
He's like like I've commented like Gary Trent. Like, that kind of player. I mean, he has some Jacoby Walter in him, I think. A guy I mentioned earlier. Just like a definitely combo guard, no doubt, but real shot making juice. Like real juice is a shot maker. He's not going to like break down defenses, get downhill, get to the foul line. He's not like an amazing passer, but like a legit defensive playmaker. I would be totally fine with him, but I mean, especially like at that range, I'm trying to not like be better about like, I don't like this pick because they should have taken my guy, because you can do this for every single pick. And like, it's just like at the top of the draft, you can do that because the margins are so thin. But like, again, like I wouldn't kill the Hawks for taking Malik over Bennett, Sturts, and Anderson, even though I prefer Sturts and Anderson pretty significantly. Like I think he's close enough to where I'm like, yeah, I think that would be fun. Even if he's more like the type of guards they currently have than like a real on-ball creator type, which I think I'd rather have for them, which, normally you can't get in this range, but if Sturts and Anderson are in a core available, you totally can.
Missed calls, slow follow-ups, or silent killers for businesses. And so I'm links left on the table without people even realizing it. And that's why today's episode is sponsored by the folks at Quo, spelled Quo, the business communication system built so you actually never miss a call. Quo helps businesses keep every conversation organized, blending your entire team manage calls and texts from one shared number. That means no more dropped messages. It means no more missed opportunities, and it doesn't mean any more disconnected communication happens at all. It's not designed for actually how modern businesses actually operate. One part that I love about Quo is that everything lives in one clean thread. When it comes to calls, texts, voicemails, etc., the whole team sees the conversation at once, so nothing falls through cracks at any point. And the AI summaries save serious time by logging calls and highlighting the next steps automatically for you to make sure businesses feel more organized and responsive at the same time. Money is on the line. Always say hello with Quo. Try Quo for free. Plus, get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. One more time, Quo tries for free, plus 20% off, and your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's quo.com/lockedonnba. Yeah, so actually, I talked about Corey a lot already, so we don't have to do any more of that unless you just are desperate to. But I wanted to ask you about Anderson because he's really small, but the shooting is potentially ridiculous. I mean, I think it's definitely good. I think it might be crazy good. What do you think of Christian Anderson? Because like how it's going to translate best roles, because like maybe he's a third guard, but like I think there's some starting point guard stuff in there if the shooting is what it could be.
On my comp sheet for my board, I have CJ as his like high end primary comp. I think he's like a secondary.
I can see that.
Different players, but like, not a primary creator, but like special shot makers with elite craft. I think Anderson is like not as good of an athlete, but a better playmaker. Similarly, nuclear shot makers.
Yeah, he has some really good pick and roll passes on film.
He is a monster pick and roll pass. Like he is. Yeah. He's like the fact that he's just so small means that some of the passing windows, and he's not like Trey in terms of like creativity and like twitchiness.
No, not that.
But he is like a ridiculous passer. Just in terms of like skill and craft, and his handle is amazing. He's so good with the ball screen. Improved a ton this past year in terms of his like intermediate scoring, playing off 2 feet, getting into a little one-legged fadeaway. And I really do think he has a decent case as like pound for pound the best shooter in the draft, especially when you consider his like sterling high school priors. Like in terms of that, he is the Con Knipple of this class. In terms of like a guy who has just been this guy since he was 14 or whatever, as far as I know, at least. So
yeah,
Anderson, again, he's a smaller guard, like 6. I believe he measured around 6 feet barefoot. Yes,
6'1",
6'1",
6'1" barefoot.
6'1", 6'6" wingspan. So like, what you need to be a 6'1" guard in terms of wingspan, and like he tries on defense. Like he's pretty physical. He'll get into guys. Like he's got lateral quickness. I don't think he's gonna be like atrocious or anything, but definitely not a strength of his. I like Anderson a lot.
If he was
he's another guy who like the Jalen Johnson of it all makes me feel good about it. And like having Dyson, who's a very skilled passer, makes, and especially if this is the world where they draft tomorrow, like, oh my God.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of there'd be some fun stuff they can run off of each other. So Start's obviously different player than Anderson, but similar range, at least for me. I don't know about you.
I think I have them like back to back, and about back to back, and I think they honestly have a decent amount of similarities to me. Obviously, different players, but
they are okay. Actually, we don't have to do the long version of this, but you mentioned age is important to you earlier in this conversation, right? Obviously, Yax is the poster child for age discussions this year. We don't have to have that one on him in particular if you don't want to, but Starts is going to be almost 23. He's older. Obviously, there's a few guys as we get down the board who are, fairly old. Like I know you have mocked Vesar to the Hawks a couple times. He's 22, going to be 23 pretty soon. Tarish Reed's 23. Like, how much do you care in the 20s about age? Does it matter less as you go down the board, or what do you think about that in general?
Definitely. I mean, I'm someone who values age for sure, but I think like everything is in context, right? And I think age matters a lot to me in the context of like when your breakout is. Like it's kind of like a fantasy football thing that I think is like I found very applicable to the draft. Like, Yaxel and Sturts were both like monsters at lower levels and then monsters immediately upon entering the NCAA, despite being older. So like that box to me is checked. Like I don't view Sturts as like a top 7 pick, but I think he's a clear like late lottery caliber player, despite his age. And like I don't think, again, I think he's like a little bit different level of player in terms of like the older guys to like a Tarish Reed. Honestly, Vesar is kind of like, again, Vesar was like really promising as a freshman at Arizona playing limited minutes, and then last year with Mo Krivas out, he was great. Wasn't really getting draft buzz, but was great. And I think these guys who have just been good for a while, and I think like it would be irresponsible not to take into like the NIL of it all into account, where
of course
in the past it's like, if you're a 22-year-old draft prospect, it's like, okay, yeah, you probably just were not good enough to go to the NBA.
Because you couldn't leave before this was essentially the reason why you were there.
And now it's like Yaxel could have been a first-round pick last year.
For sure.
And he came back and boosted his stock like crazy and is going to be a top 15 pick probably. Like, and I think that can be said with so many players who like did and did not enter the draft, where the kind of proxy, I mean, I think age-adjusted production is still so valuable, but to me, it's more like I look forward in young players, and if you're like an older player that has these good indicators, like, fairly steady growth curve, like not like a Dalton Connect, like a Chris Duarte or like someone like that who just broke out super late.
Yeah, I find the entire thing interesting on the age curve front. I think Sturts also has the interesting translations of how slow they have played his entire time. With McCollum, as he just gone level to level with Ben McCollum. Like they play so slow, he plays like every minute of every game. It's like this really fasting stat translation too, whereas like his counting stats are not as good as you might think that they should be because they're playing so slow. But if you remember that, it's a pretty impressive stat profile. Like if you watch him, like the conditioning is fantastic. He's also has good size. Like if you're worried about small guards, he's not one, which helps. You know what I mean? So there's a lot. I like Sturts. I think he gets talked about less. I don't want to use the word boring. He's not boring, but like there's nothing like
kind of
one
he's
single
not
thing
small,
about him.
But like he's not like that big though. Like he's like 6'2".
No, he's not big. I'm not saying he's big. He's not. Yeah, you're right. You're good. You're wise to point that out. But like I feel
like he plays small on defense, or like sometimes like, and maybe it's just because he's like not a great athlete, he is like. Yeah, he's bigger than like Chris. He's bigger than Christian Anderson, that's for sure. I mean, like he is also just stronger, I think, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he was. Yeah, was he almost 190, 6'6" wingspan. So yeah, probably smaller than I remembered as I'm looking at this now. But I just feel like I don't know. There's a world where he's just not going to get destroyed defensively, which is kind of
No,
all
I mean,
about.
I think he isn't a great defensive prospect by any means. Like similar to
No.
Anderson, he has ways to win. He is probably the premier like guard charge taker in the draft. Like he loves taking a charge.
I really like. I think it was
instinct.
Brian. I have it written down on my. I can't remember who's. I think it might have been Brian. There was a Malcolm Brogdon comparison that was made for Bennett Sturts, and I really like that.
I've struggled all cycle to find one I like. I've kind of settled on one that I do kind of like, which is where is that? Jose Calderon. I kind of like.
Oh, okay.
As like
Hawks legend, Jose Calderon,
who was like impact metrics wise, like one of the best offensive players in the league at his peak in like the late 2000s. Remarkably efficient player, remarkably productive, efficient playmaker, bled value on defense, but like got steals and stuff. And that's like a player who is going to be like undervalued by the public and like the consensus media always, but will be like a winning, impactful player, assuming he gets to a good situation, which like, I think the fact that there are so many guards in this draft is just inevitably going to push down a lot of these guards and meaning that a lot of these guys are going to land in great situations. Like the Hawks are a great spot for either of these guys or a Corey. I think the Pistons would be so awesome for these players for the same reason. Like the Nuggets would be awesome in the same range. Like there's so many landing spots for these guards that really do intrigue me. And I think the Hawks are right in there.
I'm going to get you out of here soon. I promise. I do want to give you a little runway to talk about some sicko stuff and anybody that you're just like your guys. I mean, we talked about some of them already, obviously on the higher end, but I know you enough to know like you have some guys that you're just like I'm in on this guy, on this guy, on this guy. I will ask you about one person to kick this off. Dalen Swain is someone I really like, who I think could be there at 23 even, but with based on
so ridiculous.
It seems crazy to me too, and I knew from listening to you that you're a little bit higher on him too than some. I get some skepticism about him, but I think if you are the Hawks and you are looking for a little bit potential like creation juice and maybe in a non-traditional way, he might be able to give you some of that at 23, especially if he gets there. He's been a mock favorite of mine in that range for the Hawks. I don't want to lead the witness, but like you have him a like lottery-ish, right? Is that still the case? Mm-hmm. Which you did at one point.
Mm-hmm. I still do.
What's the pitch on Dalen Swain? Because he might be there at 23.
He's somewhat. I mean, my silly like quick thing is like, what if AJ DeVanso was like a slightly more normal athlete?
And 2 inches shorter or something, 3 inches shorter.
Yeah, I mean, just like more like a slightly more regular physical talent. But Swain was like, 1.2 points per possession, 70.8% true shooting on 109 drives this year. Like he is a special wing driver with rare flexibility and movement skills and ball handling chops for a player of that size. Like he's going to get bucketed as like a 3-and-D wing. Again, he's not DeBansa size, right? Like he's 6'6", 6'6.5", 6'10" wingspan is mediocre. 211 is like fine. He's definitely on the skinnier side, but
that's like reasonable small forward size.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing. I think he definitely carries it like lighter at this point, but he is like a physical, athletic player. He's pretty explosive. He's like a crazy explosive player, but he can get downhill. He's an incredible ball handler on the wing, and he can pass as well. Like, also, like he really started expanding his like off dribble shooting. Like he was 47.6% in the mid range on like moderate volume. Had a big 3-point shooting leap. Last year was 1.6 threes per 100, 25%. This year, 4.6, 34.8%. Still an underwhelming shooter. And my main issues with him are like, he's just like not that great off the ball. Like he isn't a super confident catch and shooter. Like
that
he's
is
a cutter, closeout attacker. But like, if you're going to draft him and just like park him in the corner, like don't draft Dylan Swain. And his defense this year was definitely disappointing. Especially like his motor and his defense at the rim. I thought like his motor at the rim too, just not what it was. But he was so good at Xavier as like a weak side shot blocker and definitely just like more engaged. But again, he had like a huge usage uptick this year, was the best player, and even
and a level jump too. Like he went to a tougher league and played against
for sure.
Big 12's always loaded.
And I think even then there are moments where like he's too passive as a scorer for me, especially like when he doesn't have like his his drive setup. But yeah, Swain, I mean, to me is like a locked in lottery level player, like incredible ceiling on that guy. And again, I'm pretty sure he's not even going to be 21 on draft night.
Well, I was going to say, actually,
yeah.
Number one, I just said Big 12, and I'm an idiot because Texas is not in the Big 12 anymore. But number two,
easy mistake.
He and Burries are the same age. Burries is a freshman, and Swain was a junior, and they're almost to the day, the exact same age, like within a month.
Yep. Yes, Burries a little younger. But like I said, Swain also just like a month or two younger, or a month or two older than Alan Graves, a month or two older than LeBaron Philon. He's around the same age as like he's younger than like an Ademara. He's younger than Cameron Carr, like a lot of these high level upper class players. Yeah, I mean he fits like the has been good for a while thing too, right? Like he's been good. He was on draft radars as a freshman at Xavier. Like people were thinking about him as a prospect in high school. Like there are smart high school scouts I know who tabbed him in high school.
What confuses me a little bit, we'll move on to other guys, I promise, before we go, but with Swain is like guys that have, I don't think he's like going to be a star, but I think he has like some actual star upside, and guys who are 6'7" with star upside don't fall in the 20s very often. To me.
I mean, it's why Cedric Coward went as high as he did to me. Like they're different players, but like
they are. But
I wasn't crazy about Coward. Like I liked Coward. I was a little lower on him than like where he went, and I think obviously like that seemed to be a prescient pick. But again, it's like 6'6", 6'7" wing with like real ball skills, and obviously Coward's thing was more like mid-range post fade jump shooting than like Swain's downhill. But like he had a rare thing offensively. Yeah,
and that's not usually. Again, I just find it surprising that he keeps getting mocked. But it only takes one. Also, somebody might take him 15, and it won't matter. But there's that. Okay, it's time for Ben lists off players he likes. My favorite segment of the year, generally speaking. Anybody you want to talk about that you're high on that we've not talked about? Could be second rounders. I don't care. Lots of a second round pick this year if they want to get crazy in the 50s. So
we can do second round. I'm trying to think of anyone like non-second round. I don't have anyone like I adore that we haven't talked about really.
That's a win for us. We got through a lot of guys, but I mean,
I've mentioned. Okay, I can just go through my second round-ish guys.
I know one right away. I started to make notes on your board on the big board that I have just to see where you were. There was one that I thought you were going to say. I won't even give it away. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of like second round, late first centers / combo bigs that I like a lot. Those being Zubi Ejiofor, Terrace Reed, Rafael Castro.
That was the one, Rafael Castro.
Yep. Castro and Isaiah Nelson. I love Castro. I have him. Yeah, I'm 31st on my most updated board. Which I think is higher than most people. Like he is a.
Yeah, he's 63rd on the rookie scale consensus board right now.
That's crazy. I mean, played at George Washington and is a skinny big who is 23 years old. So there is that. But he has such a rare combination of passing feel and movement skill, like total freak mover as like a pretty big guy, 6'9", barefoot, 7'1" wingspan. So like combo big more than like a true center, but he has like the mobility to for sure play on the perimeter on defense. And then has like improved as a ball handler, but like such a good passer for his size. Does a lot of really good things. in terms of like his pick and roll coverage. He's a very good finisher as well in like that short mid area. He's not crazy explosive and he's not the best, like finisher around the rim against contact, but he's got great touch in that like intermediate, like short floater area. So Castro, such a good player. 98th percentile steal rate among drafted centers since 2008. That is telling to me of his defensive instincts and the way that he can make plays on the perimeter. I love Castro. He's so awesome. I mean, like I said, there's so many like different kinds of bigs in this range. Like Baba Miller, I think is much more like widely, liked as a sleeper than Castro. He's a power conference guy, has been on people's radars for a while, was like a fairly big prospect before going to FSU like 4-ish years ago. Really like tweener big, like 6'10", 7'2" wingspan. Honestly, a lot of similarities to Castro, like super not as freaky mobile wise, but he's more athletic. He's much more like explosive and sturdy. Similarly, an amazing like connective passer. I don't think he's more than like a role player. That's why he's in this range. And for some slightly different players, Isaiah Nelson, South Florida big man, complete monster athlete. 6'8", 9-foot standing reach, 7'2" 1/4 wingspan, 220 pounds. One of the most explosive movers in the entire class, can switch guard multiple positions. Great, blitz switch, aggressive pick and roll defender, and is constantly getting his hands around the passing lane, deflecting passes on and off the ball. Like offensively, doesn't really do a ton outside of like rebounding and an occasional drive. I think he was way overextended in college, like being like a 26 usage guy. It's never going to happen again.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Well, not even 26. Sorry. I was looking at 24 usage. Point being, like he was pretty efficient this year, but point being, that's just not going to be who he is at the NBA level. He's going to be an energy guy, but I think he's the level of athlete. That's why I like to bet on him, man. I feel like more people know about Zuby and Terrace Reed. Like, I don't think I'm like way higher. I think I'm about a consensus with those guys. I mean, Bruce Thornton. Oh my God.
Bruce Thornton. The wave is happening on the internet right now with Bruce Thornton. People are in. I've always liked him.
I remember watching he and Bryce Sensabaugh played together in EYBL. And I guess in college, right?
At college too, yeah.
Yeah. So they played together, and I was like, "Oh, Bruce is obviously the NBA player on this team," which was like technically, like not a technically good take, but like wouldn't shock me if he still ends up being a better player.
It's
than
in
Bryce.
play.
Like he is.
By the way, a local guy for Hawks fan. He's from Fairburn, Georgia, so he's a local.
People are giving him like the Jalen Brunson comp this year for like second round guy, just because he's the most efficient player ever, which is funny, and I enjoy those. He's got such a strange build: 6 foot barefoot, 6'5" wingspan, 223 pounds, which is crazy. I mean, he is so strong, and like that shows up on tape. Like amazing defensive anchor guarding the ball. He's got a long wingspan. He's got great instincts, and like he shot 58% from mid range, 75% at the rim, and 40% from 3 this year. Like what the hell? And he did like similar. And his numbers were similar enough. The rim finishing took a huge leap this year, but like he shot 51% from mid last year. It is 42% from 3 last year on high volume. I mean, it is truly special the way he can put the ball into the basket, and that is something that I absolutely want to bet on.
Yeah, he also if it doesn't work, he might be like a GOAT EuroLeague guard. If it doesn't work out in the NBA, you know what I mean? Like he's like the prototypical, like he's going to average 26 a game in the EuroLeague and 28 minutes or something. 100%. No, I like him too. He's interesting. I mean, and I joke about the Hawks having to pick this pick of the 50s because like that could be anything. That picks of the 50s just either get traded or stashed or whatever. Do you have any international guy thoughts? I know there is a contingent of Hawks fans that have fallen in love with Luigi. Because he's just
I feel like on every podcast I go these days on, people are like, So we have some people love. I
mean, you know why though? He's 7'3", 290, and he can shoot.
He is,
It's basically,
yeah. I mean,
it.
he is 7'2" and 3/4, 289 pounds, which is the heaviest player in the draft. To be
by
clear,
a lot, right? Isn't it about like 20 pounds?
I think it's like, if you're counting in Robbie Avila, I think it's closer, but otherwise,
well,
yeah.
I'm not counting Robbie Avila.
I think it's like Mar, like Nate Biddle, otherwise, or Terrace Reed, maybe, actually. But yeah, I mean, Swigo, like, he's like kind of a late bloomer who's really young still, is gigantic, decent mover for his size, and like has, a little bit of shooting upside. So he isn't particularly good at most things, but like I still have him in like the top 40 because
somebody and literally as we're talking today, this won't go up for a couple days, but somebody today like made an impassioned plea about how he and Mara are the same. And I was just not they're not the same.
I mean, like, again, Swigo is interesting. Like, I understand why people like him, but like,
yeah,
I mean, he's
for me, he's a stash. Like, you're just trying to figure out.
Oh, for sure. He's not going to play NBA basketball for a long time.
What you're going to do.
This is a very international light class. Like, I don't have that many on my board. And like there's a couple guys who are like on the consensus
Sergio
board.
Delaria.
I will talk about him in a second. So I like Delaria quite a bit, but like some like lower level guys like a Yakov or like there's some guy whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, who's ranked 80s. If Brad, you should go look at the rookie skill consensus board and
I'm looking at it right now.
Who's 86?
Is it a silent V? Is it Sevolod or Vzevolod?
Sevolod Ishchenko.
That's a name I've never seen
before.
Like
him, Pavle Bacho, like guys I've watched like a little bit of and not been super moved. But I do like Sergio De La Rey a lot, and I think Jack Kyle is interesting. Who's like a late entry who I think a lot of people didn't expect he was going to be in this draft. It was like supposedly locked in at Gonzaga, but then it's like, no, I hate Gonzaga. Like, college basketball guys are losers. Basically, I mean, kind of honestly. But I mean, that is like, I mean, it's like he said it a little bit nicer, but it wasn't that nice. He was like, yeah, I have no interest in playing college basketball. And it's like, why, whatever. Point being,
did you commit or something? Like, anyway,
yeah, Kyle is like a 6'3" like dribble pass shoot connector guard. Like he's never really going to pressure the rim or be like much of a primary, but he's an awesome shooter, great decision maker with the ball, like smart, instinctual defender. I believe he's pretty young as well. Yeah, he's 20 and a half on draft night. So we're definitely worth a flyer. But De La Rey is really interesting. Like he is a player. I need to update his measurements. I think John Chepkevich posted. I saw that. 6'6" barefoot, 6'9" wingspan, 204 pounds. I had him at 290, or I had him at 290. I had him at 198, not 298. Jeez, but he is. I mean, he is like a point guard in like the way that he like can pass. I don't know if he's like a point guard in the way that he can like break down defenses off the dribble. He's not.
But if those measurements are real, like that's wing size. So like
I mean, I think he's more of like a combo 2-guard type. That's fine. Like he is, and again, he's overqualified as a passer for that role. He's a very good shot maker. Just like doesn't have the consistent like downhill juice and scoring. Though I do think he got better at that this year. His defense is pretty solid as well. Like honestly, I'm still doing like my last passes. There's some film. I could see myself moving him back up into the tier I have above, which I've had him in for like I had him in before, and then I kind of fell out of it a little bit with him because I started to worry a bit more about the athleticism, but he is just a really damn good basketball player. Another one of these guys who's like been impactful, inconsistent minutes, but he is a 20-year-old playing in like a good professional league. He plays for Valencia in the Spanish ACB, and I think they're in the Euro League, if I remember correctly. But yeah, De La Rey is a very cool player. I would be really happy to take him in like the late first, early second round, and I could even see him like reasonably going higher than that. He's really good.
Yeah, I like what I see. I have more. He's a guy I have more to watch on, but I I am intrigued. Well, Ben, thank you for all the time, as always. I know you got a lot going on and places and things, so please take a second and tell people where they can find everything, because YouTube and writing and streams and podcasts and whatever else.
As always, bunch of random stuff. Everything's on my YouTube, just my name, Ben Pfeifer, Twitter, BJPF_. Hopefully we'll have my board updated within the next week or so with all my comparisons and stats and bells and whistles and scouting reports and such. And then, yeah, hopefully gonna have some more like prospect film reviews. I have one I'll spoil for the listeners with that I'm working on editing with Sam Hoiberg, who is actually sick.
Wow.
I'll do a quick one on him. He is I got his official measurements. Barefoot. He is 5'10" and a half with a 5'10" and a half wingspan, 181 pounds.
5'10" and a half wingspan. Sorry.
Conversely, if you look at all players since 2008 who played at least 80% of their team's minutes in a season, which is a lot, high minute players, he is 5th in defensive box plus minus.
I mean, okay, and he can also shoot. So
yeah, he's a pretty good shooter, incredible playmaker, so good at getting steals. Like, he's gonna be an undrafted guy. And yes. I have him in like the 80s on my board or whatever, because he is.
He will be but you will see him. You will see him in summer league.
He's gonna be a ridiculous G League, and like he has some TJ McConnell outcomes in him. I think at the very, very high end, like, obviously that would be the best possible scenario for a guy like that. But there is a value in, players like him with just like who are real, like high field connectors, he's an excellent finisher too. Like, he was almost 70% at the rim on this year, like a good amount of like unassisted rim attempts, which you just would not expect from player of his, like a 15 usage player like him. Also another great guy that teams are going to like. I foresee a very long, successful G League or overseas career for him, most likely, but you never know. And like I said, hopefully, depending on how fast I work, I'll have that out within the next couple of days. But yeah,
there you go.
As always, thanks for having me on.
No,
Brad
it's my
Brad is my guy. You're my guy, as you know.
I'm supposed to be on. I think is it day 2 of the draft, day 1 of the draft, day 2 of the draft, right?
I gotta figure that out. I don't. Yeah, so I mean, I'll be live during both days.
Live draft stuff. Yes.
Yeah, as always. One of my, one of, if not my favorite days, 2 days of the year, honestly.
Oh yeah. It's like Christmas. It's like Christmas. If I was not at the Hawks facility doing writerly things, I would just watch you the entire time.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I have. Let's see how many. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 guests confirmed. I have like 6 or 7 more maybes. It's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna have my shitty graphics as well, as always. But as long as it's understandable, that's fine.
Listen, we all can do what we can do. People always want me to do bells and whistles, and I host a podcast. I don't produce one. I just talk about stuff on podcasts. Ben, thanks again, man. I appreciate it sincerely. And you don't have to say anything to this next thing. I think you're doing some of the best work on the internet, really anywhere, about the draft. So thanks for doing this. As for everybody else, please subscribe to Locked On Hawks. If you made it this far, then you probably are subscribed already. But if you haven't, subscribe. Tell your friends. And we'll see everybody next time.